And we're recording. Please say yes. Please say got it.
Got it.
Because we don't want you to be kicked off this call. We're recording at Gwyn's, with Gwyn's permission, and we hope we have your permission too. If you're going to say something that leaves you vulnerable on the internet, know that ahead of time, because we'll be putting this on our YouTube channel at some point. Did somebody leave because of that? No, I think
Vicky did.
I don't think so. I think Vicky just went to her graphic. So happy to see you, and other folks will likely be joining us in the coming minutes, just like Sunday worship. Some folks, you know, miss the prelude and get here for the opening prayer or something like that. So glad to see you all again, and I'm really delighted that you chose to make a little extra time today for Lunch and Learn and Listen. We've advertised this as going 90 minutes because it's just the best way to give you a taste of what Gwyn is going to offer us. I hope you looked and saw the information in God Calls. This truly is a taste of what the Amherst writers and artists train folks to do, and Gwyn is one of us. She's a ruling elder from Wabash Avenue Presbyterian Church in Crawfordsville, Indiana, right in the shadow of, or maybe the college, maybe Wabash College, in the shadow of First Presbyterian of Wabash Avenue Presbyterian Church. Gwyn serves on our ministry and outreach committee, which, like the artist formerly known as Prince, had something to do with mission in the life of the Presbytery of Wabash Valley. And we started conversing at the time when Gwyn offered to do the introduction to one of our special offerings this year at an assembly. And it was particularly evocative and beautiful and theologically astute and very, very helpful. And it gave me the opportunity to say, tell me more about yourself. And I heard Gwyn's terrific story, and that prompted me to say, I want more people to get to know you and to get to know about Amherst writers and artists, and the gift that they've entrusted you with as a teacher and a trainer. I think we're in for a lot of fun today. Gwyn's going to introduce herself and give her background, what she would choose to share with you. I would like to say that we're going to have the opportunity to experience some of what the writers' workshops entail and include, and I hope you're up for it. I think that's why we have the cream of the crop here today, Gwyn, because I think that I read this in Brene Brown's latest book, Atlas of the Soul. She talks about how vulnerability is something we really, really appreciate in others and don't tend to share ourselves, you know, that we love it in other people, but don't ask me to be vulnerable. And there's a bit of vulnerability in entering a space like this, where our writing and our thoughts might be shared. But I'm thinking that most of the people on this call have some opportunity to share their writing and share their thoughts. And so I hope it won't be terrifying for you today. And likely those for whom it is decided not to come to this today. In any event, I want to invite you into a time of prayer, and then it's all Gwyn's to help us navigate the next 90 minutes or so. Let's pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for so much beauty in our lives, for so much abundance that too often is clouded by the pain that we experience when we witness the pain of your beautiful world and your precious creation. We are mindful, O God, that to whom much is given, much is expected. And we have an urgency to create a space for your beloved community and for shalom. Help us not to ignore any of that pain and brokenness, but help us to be agents and emissaries of hope as we seek to plumb the depths of what we know and what we witness, to also be willing to receive and to harvest the fruit of your graciousness, your love for the world, your vision for peace, as we seek in this time and space to do your work and your will. For we ask this in the name of our risen Savior. Amen. All right, Gwen, thanks.
Sure.
Everybody else.
Yes, I'd like for everyone to unmute themselves, because I want to hear a little bit about each one of you before I launch into my program, if that's okay. Linda, I met you, but if you want to share a little bit about yourself for the rest of the group, and they may know you, but go ahead.
Currently, I'm moderator of the finance team and acting treasurer, and working with the team on congregational visioning. So that's where most of my writing is right now.
Sure. Oh,
I'm also a retired stated clerk, and I used to write stated clerk stuff.
Great. Visioning. Yeah, I'm on the visioning task force too. Woo! Tony.
Hi, I'm Tony Butler. I'm the bridge pastor at First Presbyterian Church in Rensselaer. So the bulk of my writing comes in the form of sermons, but also I journal often. So there's also writing that, very prayerful writing that doesn't necessarily get shared.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Kevin, you're on mute. Okay, good.
I'm Kevin Bowers, the pastor at Bethany Presbyterian Church in Lafayette. So not too far away from you, Gwen. So most of my writing happens related to sermons and newsletter articles.
Okay. I was in Lafayette almost all day yesterday. I have classes at the Lafayette Writer Studio down at Matchbox 360. You know where that is, Kevin?
I do. It's a wonderful space.
It is.
Yes.
It is. We had a big celebration last night, an open mic night for 8 years of the Lafayette Writer Studio. So I love Lafayette. I do.
Very nice. Very nice.
Michael?
Hi. So I'm Mike Pennan, and actually this is my first Lunch and Learn thing since I retired January 1st, but I've stayed on. I've kept God Calls coming. So like Kevin just shared, while I was a pastor, mainly I was just writing sermons and newsletter articles. Some other things written now and then. Seminary, I actually wrote some worship materials because my supervisor said you're going to write original stuff, and some of it ended up published. But then, since then, not very much. Since retirement, January 1st, I had told myself that I was going to write like every weekday, and I've been managing fairly well to do some personal writing every weekday, and I've gone back mostly to trying my hand at poetry. But when I'm not up for doing that, then I just write something else. And some of it's just kind of like journal writing, maybe reflections. So that's kind of where I am.
Excellent. I love to hear that. The poetry, that's kind of my jam too. I love poetry. Well, David, do you have your audio on?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. The mystery man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, David.
Well, I keep myself off when I look at this parade of models. I don't want to ruin the symmetry. I'm the chaplain at Peabody Retirement Community. And in part, I want to steal writing prompts for some of our folks who may want to try their hand
Hey.
at writing. I write a lot like the folks you've just heard from. Everything from sermons. Since the virus, we send out a packet of letters and sermon notes and devotionals every week. And right now I'm editing a year's worth of those devotionals that we'll put out as the Peabody devotions for the gray-haired. Let's see. I wrote, when I was a pastor, I wrote a column for the local newspapers for like 20 years. I've written a grief devotional, a year's worth, and a few Bible studies over the years. So thanks.
Wow. Are you in Nashville, David?
No. I'm in North Manchester, Indiana.
Okay.
So I'm
When you
about
said
30
Peabody, I'm thinking Peabody Vanderbilt. I just wondered where you.
No, I'm not elite enough to be welcome there. This is
Hey.
a retirement community 30 miles west of Fort Wayne.
Okay. All right.
And
Got
my
it.
guess is you won't be able to share places in North Manchester you've been. So
Nah, probably not. No. Okay, let's see. We have a new person joined us down next to Michelle. Jennifer, the name isn't show. RP764.
That's
Hey,
right.
will
That's
you
Ron
unmute,
Phillips.
unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about what's going on with you?
Yes, my name is Ron, and I have recently finished up studies at Columbia Theological for a lay pastor, or whatever you want to call it. And I have just been accepted to Pulpit Supply, and I am a member of First Presbyterian Church in Valparaiso, Indiana. And I'm just glad to be starting a new direction, a new avenue.
All right. Thank you. And Michelle?
Gwen, I think Michelle has indicated in the chat that
Sure.
she's going to type her response
Excellent.
as an introduction
Very
because there's a lot of noise in her background.
Okay.
So
That's
we,
good.
we trust that, and in a minute, her
Good.
writing will appear. There it is.
She has, let's see, she has repairs going on in her house. Well, that's good. That's a
Well,
positive.
I'll tell you all quickly. Most folks on the call know Michelle. Gwen, she's probably your nearest neighbor.
Okay.
Michelle is currently a member at large for our presbytery. She most recently completed a transitional pastorate at First Church in Lebanon, Indiana.
Oh, sure.
And she is currently writing daily on the subject of hope and sending out really beautiful reflections, Monday through Friday, reflections, meditations on the subject of hope, and really does beautiful work.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you,
I
Michelle.
happen to know all these folks right well, so what
Good.
fun we're going to have.
I am so excited. This is something I'm so passionate about. And I'm just going to tell you just a little bit about my background, but then we're going to jump into writing. You're here to write, you're here to experience the Amherst Writers and Artists Method. And I hope you become as excited about it as I am. So a little bit about me. And if I look down, I apologize because I did write some notes. I started writing when I was 9, as most writers tend to start when they're young anyway. And my first writing was, I think it was a play about 3 girls who liked horses. You know, when I went to junior high, I started writing Man from Uncle sequels, and I wrote about plane crashes. And then when I went to high school, I started writing really dark poetry about unrequited love and racial injustice. It got me called into the principal's office more than once. I was sort of a rebellious kid. One of my grandmother's teachers called her and said that I was the most rebellious child. Oh no, belligerent, that was the word. Belligerent child that they had ever seen. But you know, I had an outlet, which was writing, and that was good. My plans to go to college and major in journalism were derailed by an early marriage. And I changed my mind when I was able to go back to college and became a speech therapist. And my career has been in special education for I retired in 2016, but I work mostly with kids with severe cognitive delays, physical limitations, and children that were on the autism spectrum. And I could write a book about that too. If you've ever been called a big fat yellow M&M by an autistic child, you know that's a major insult. Just saying. So unbeknownst to me, when I started writing at 9, my father was also a writer. He left my mom and I when I was 3, headed out to California, became a bohemian, and I didn't really have any contact with him. And so in 1995, he died. And a month after he died, this huge cardboard box showed up on my front porch. And it was a 20-year span of his poetry, journals, and short stories. And that it really validated my journey as a writer. And pouring through all of that, there are things that no child should know about their parent, probably, that I know about my parent. But I learned a lot and learned what an incredible writer he was, and the legacy. All 3 of my children write. 2 of them don't do it as a profession, but one of my daughters does. She's a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. She lives in Nashville, David, hence that was the question about Nashville. And she's also an AWA certified trainer. She's one step above me. She's the one that really encouraged me to get into this field. So I attended the training last November, and I have a writers group called Calliope, which I host 2 workshops weekly, one on Monday evening, one on Friday mornings. A group of people, we come together, we write to prompts, we share, we cry, we laugh. I'm trying to do some things for the community where I grew up here in Crawfordsville and moved back 8 years ago. The great thing about this method is you, the leader, sets the space and the magic happens. And I was sharing that with Jennifer. It's a sacred space. People become more vulnerable and comfortable. It's not therapy, but it's therapeutic. That's kind of one of the mantras around AWA. Rarely does a session go by that someone doesn't cry or laugh hysterically or become more vulnerable. And I'm always on the phone afterward to my daughter going, "You won't believe what just happened." And it's never about me. It's always, I'm the one that receives the gift because I create the space and the parameters. And that's the big thing about AWA, is creating a safe space for people to express themselves. Pat Schneider, who is the founder of the AWA method, and I sent Jennifer the book that I received, How the Light Gets In. She was the wife of a minister who, interestingly enough, spoke out against Nixon and was canned by his church board. And I'm not sure, I can't remember what Peter did afterward, but they did not stay with that particular church. She's very spiritual though, and did a lot of work out in Pacific, I want to say it's a Pacific Christian college, traveled the world. She had graduated with her MFA and didn't care for the way that students of writing were treated. And so she and a friend of hers developed this method of encouragement and validation, because her belief is everyone is a writer. Everyone has creative genius. And so this method was founded back in the late 80s and has been thriving ever since. And I have the link at the end of our presentation if you want to find out more about it. Her first effort was with a group of women who were marginalized. They were living in housing, and she met with them every week. Some of them even went on and went to college and got their degrees. I mean, it was the transformation of these women was incredible. There's a short documentary on that. I think it's Tell Me Something I Won't Forget. And I can also send you the link to that. So without further ado, I'm going to do screen share. And sometimes this gets a little hinky for me, and hopefully it will come up just fine. And where is it? It's not there. Okay. Why does that happen to me? Let me open the window. I apologize for this. It's not it either. Okay. I really am not this inept, I promise, but try it again. You know those nightmares you have when when things don't go just the way you want them. I'm having one of those right now. Okay. New window. Come on. I had it open and everything going, okay, I know it'll work. Presentations. Okay.
Gwen, if you'd like, you could email the document to me and I'd be happy to share it for you.
There it is. It is. For some reason,
there it is.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Okay.
Thanks, Vicki.
So we're gonna start the slideshow. Okay. So this is the logo for the Calliope Writers Group. It's Discovering Your Beautiful Voice, and the quote is from Pat. So we've done the background. The next thing we're going to do is the review of the practices. And then we're going to start with a poem and prompt. And we're going to do a read and share, and then another prompt, another read and share, and then comment and questions. These are the affirmations that are the bywords of Pat Schneider's method. Everyone has a strong, unique voice. Everyone is born with creative genius. Writing as an art form belongs to all people, regardless of economic class or education. The teaching of craft can be done without damage to a writer's original voice. A little aside, that is one of the reasons that my daughter works with the singer-songwriters, because so many of them have to do formula type things to sell their records, and they lose their original voice. And it's like a breath of fresh air for some of them. And a writer is someone who writes, plain and simple. No more complicated than that. The essential practices, and I paraphrase because it's really long and I don't want I don't want to bore you any more than I already am, but so a non-hierarchical spirit is maintained in how we interact. I'm not a teacher. I'm not an authority on anything. We are all equal. Writing is confidential and it's treated as fiction unless someone actually makes a statement. I want you to take this as an autobiography. You are free to not read your work when it's time to share. You have that option to opt out. There is no criticism, suggestion, or question directed toward the writer during first draft. The teaching of craft is taken seriously. We conduct it through exercises, experimentation, and growth. And I write along with you, and I read at least one thing out loud. There's equality here, there's risk-taking, and try to develop a mutuality of trust that I'm not above you, I am with you. All right, so those of you who are wanting to write, this is going to be our first prompt. And typically it is one of the first prompts that AWA uses when they actually have a workshop. I'm going to read a poem from Georgella Lyon, and she is located in Kentucky. She's a poet, a writer. I read a bunch about her and I can't remember all of her background, but she does have a website. I'm from clothespins, from Clorox and carbon tetrachloride. I'm from the dirt under the back porch, black and glistening, it tasted like beets. I'm from the forsythia bush, the Dutch elm, whose long limbs I remember as if they were my own. I'm from fudge and eyeglasses, from Imogene and Alifair. I'm from the know-it-alls and pass-it-ons, from perk up and pipe down. I'm from he restoreth my soul with a cottontail lamb in 10 verses I can say by myself. I'm from Artemis and Billy's branch, fried corn and strong coffee. From the finger my grandfather lost to the auger, the eye my father shut to keep his sight. Under my bed was a dress box, spilling old pictures, a sift of lost faces to drift beneath my dreams. I am from those moments, snapped before I budded, leaf fall from family tree. So here is your prompt, should you choose. And they say you write from experience or from your memory or from imagination. Follow the pattern of Lyon's poem by writing sentences that begin with I am from. And I'm going to time this. And when we have about 2 minutes left, I'll let you know. And go ahead and begin. Okay, 2 minutes. you're at a place that you can stop, please do so. If not, try and finish your thought and come back and join the group, please. So before we share, there are some things that you need to know about commenting on one another's writing. And we all have a chance to share if you so desire. We all have a chance to comment if you so desire. First of all, the work is fiction, even though it's not probably treated as such. We always refer to the writer not by their name, but as the narrator. You're reading a work of fiction, you're narrating it. Give a brief description of two things: what stays with you, the images, what do you remember the most, and what was strong about the piece. So those are the only two things that we're really going to comment on: what stays with you, what was strong. There is always a desire to jump in and make connections. Oh, I know about that. I did. We stay away from that because we're really focusing on the writing. So avoid using comparisons to your own life. What is read in the group stays in the group. Confidentiality is utmost importance. So I'm going to stop share and come back. And is there anyone who would like to read what they have written?
I could start if you don't mind.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
This is David.
David, you're all over the, okay. Great, David. Thank you.
So you'll cue me when to start?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay. I am from a hamlet where the mountains loomed out to the sunrise and a patch town decayed to the west. I am from the Latin mass of incense and cassocks, of bells and kneeling, of Latin missals and nuns' beatings, to remove any trace of pride from our humiliated childhoods. Of a sense of mystery and holiness I chase still. I am from the working class of closed company stores, its deep prejudice and adoration of hard work, of billy clubs and strikes, of people being sneered upon as animals undeserving of safety in the mines. I'm from the TV, a refuge from getting yelled at, an avenue into a broader place I yearned for but was afraid to seek. I am from blackberry bushes on abandoned detritus of coal mines, of woods and fields and creeks that always seem to flow away and not toward us. I am from pirate games on the radio, of knowing Martin Luther King and Adlai Stevenson were smart because I did not understand them, of being drawn to the news on TV and wondering why newsreels were so old. I am from library books and a precious set of encyclopedias where I could figure out what they could tell me. And that meant figuring out what it could mean that popes had illegitimate children. And the Catholic March on the New World came at some cost. I am from the Vietnam era of serving at too many funerals. The end.
All right. Y'all can unmute yourselves if you like. Anyone have anything they'd like to say? And remember, what stays with you? What was strong about the piece? I'll go because I wrote down several things. I try to take notes. So I thought the narrator painted a very intricate and complex picture into the culture, society, and even narrowing it to the what the narrator was describing as their own life and where they lived. The creeks flow away really stuck with me, that phraseology. And smart because I did not understand them. Anyone else?
Sure. So I remember about the Billy Clubs. Also about I Am From the TV and what followed that, even though I can't, the part that started I Am From the TV kind of extended naturally into what followed in my hearing.
Anyone else have anything that stayed with them or felt like that was particularly strong? Ron?
A lot of what Dave has said is struck a familiar chord. I think because of the age group, as we live through the times and being from Middle America, and it sounds like a familiar song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now the narrator did a good job of, and I think some of us certainly are within that generation. Yeah.
I didn't want to cast any aspersions to anyone's age.
Yeah. That's not polite to ask. Okay. Ron, is anyone else?
I'll go.
Okay, Ron, go ahead. You're up.
I am from the middle, not knowing exactly where I'm from. I'm from the branches of my tree, as unique as a snowflake. I am unique as the environment that I have lived. The people that I have known are the spice in my life. I'm from a culmination of all things, some good, some not so good. I am from the blessing of each day lived, growing like a tree. I am me. I am from that hope that I make your life one that allows others space. And
Comments? What stays with you? What's strong about that piece?
And I appreciated the narrator's phrase, people are spice in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the one that jumped out at me also.
Great. I think
For
someone else.
me, for me, the image of the tree that recurred in different ways is creating space. There's a mention of branches from the tree. I just found that a compelling image.
Yeah. What stuck with me was the line, I am a culmination of all things lived. So that was very strong.
When Michelle is commenting in the chat, and
Okay,
I'll
good.
stay with her, would you like me to chat, or would that be okay?
Sure.
She wrote about, let's see, about David's. She
Yeah.
wrote, sticks with me as all the imagery, place after place opened up clearly. I still can see them.
Mhm.
What sticks with me is the journey. And about Ron's, Michelle wrote, what sticks with me is the spaciousness.
Yeah. When you think about the two pieces and you think about all of the imagery that was in the first piece and then the short but very compact, which could have been cluttered but was very spacious. I totally, yes, that's great observation, Michelle. Great observations. All right, who would like to go next? Anyone like to read something?
I can go ahead.
All right, thank you, David.
I am from letters exchanged between an American man and a Finnish woman. I am from an embryo growing in a womb heading from Finland to the United States. Oops, I'm from an embryo growing in a womb on a boat heading from Finland to the United States. I am from notes that sound from a flute, from hymns that rise from lungs and throats, from the sighs and tears that beautiful music generates. I am from a word that gives beings who then birth many words. I am from the words that issue from my heart and mouth and pen and keystroke, but also from those that meet my eyes and enter my ears. I am from the family that is, as they remake me through my encounters with them. I am from the mystery that is at the heart of all things, which means that I emerge from silence and return to silence, even as the future will welcome echoes of myself.
Michelle, I'm going to read yours. What sticks with me is all the embodiment words: womb, embryo, throats, lungs, eyes, ears. Very strong. What stays with me is the full circle of the poem, starting with letters and embryos, starting with silence and ending with silence and all the spaces in between. Very strong.
Hi, this is David. It's so sophisticated that I just want to give up. But but after I worked through that, I was really taken with its emphasis on sound, whether it was music or words or silence. And there's a strong, for me, sense of development or growth or life itself. He uses phrases like issuing forth or issuing from or remaking me. He explicitly talks about echoes and silence. And it's, for me, well, really, it's sort of like a poem on John 1:14. It's the word made flesh, but word in a sound, in a sound sense there. And Jennifer shook her head, so I'll stop there because I have to be on to something.
Oh, Michael the poet, right? Yeah, for sure. Sure. All
The
right.
other thing that struck me was moving from details and from the unknown to the details and then back to the mystery. That was a nice shape.
Yeah, what sticks with me is from the mystery that is the heart of all things.
Mhm.
Okay, who would like to share next? Is there anyone that would like to share? Remember, you're not obligated to.
I'll share.
Okay, thank you.
I am from cornfields and soybeans and sometimes winter wheat. I am from thunderstorms across the flat expanse. I am from brokenness and pieces glued back together, from drywall and dust, and from Jeep, Chrysler, and rust. I am from give it a try and see if you like it. There's no pressure, just do your best. I am from Karen and Larry, from remembrances of both the hood and the holler. I am from many who love their country and some who are troubled. I am from simple and salt of the earth who stumble and fall sometimes. I am from those who keep trying.
What's strong? What stays with you about this piece?
I just, it was, again, I don't want to reiterate the familiar song, but it was it was words that, coming from, I see he's from Rensselaer and we're from Valpo. It was a breath that I've relived it. It is one of a familiar chord of who we are as our Middle Americans, if you will. And it was just a familiar ring, a comforting ring, like almost like mashed potatoes and corn on the cob type of thing. It was just it kind of filled you.
Nice. Nice. Thank you.
For me, what was strong about it was the clarity, the crispness, the simplicity of word and image.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
Brokenness in pieces.
Well, two things. Me. One was the phrase about keep trying, which I think I heard a couple times, versions of that.
Mhm.
The other was a very evocative phrase that also had poetic elements in it. Drywell, dust, Jeep, Chrysler, and rust.
Mhm.
So the imagery is great, but also then you have the alliteration and you have the rhyme also.
A little bit of the structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. And Michelle said, what sticks with me is the drywall. Seems to catch in it hard work and side-by-sideness that showed up in other places. Thank you for your comments. Okay. Anyone
What
else
stuck
like
with me was the
Sorry.
phrase brokenness and pieces put back together.
Yes, yes.
For me, it was like hearing a poem from someone who's featured in the book, The Hillbilly Elegy. That it for me, I mean, and that it was, how shall I say, the underside of the MAGA movement is obvious, but this got at the vestiges of a missed past that animates that movement. I get a better feel for those folks from having heard that.
Interesting. Right. Okay. Anyone else like to read their piece?
I have Michelle's. I so wish you could hear her voice.
I know. Okay. Go
Shall I
ahead.
go ahead?
Yes, please, Jennifer.
Here's Michelle's. I am from people with anxiety, people with courage, people with endurance, people of peace and patience. I am from places of conflict, places of green pasture, places of study, places of playing music and places of singing, places of terrible children's sermons. I am from good humor and quick wit, scalloped potatoes and enthusiasm soup, fixing it yourself and looking it up, flowers and pies and hymns and peach ice cream in the summer. I am from people who ask, what if and why don't we? And we have to. Thus, people with broken hearts and losses, loneliness and family everywhere, joy and lightness of being. I am from stars and from fields of wheat and from pets, and tomorrow I will be from today.
Yeah. Anyone care to comment? What's strong? What stays with you that the narrator wrote about? I think if the narrator could have captured it any better in the world of what life is, I don't know how, because everything was included in an economy of words and scenes, much like Tony's piece. There was a lot of comfort in it in the middle.
One of the things.
I was
that-
struck.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Linda.
I was struck by the motion, how quickly it moved from image to image, so that in those few lines, it was packed with experience.
Tony, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say that I heard a real sense of community in there, and also a playfulness that suggests to me, don't take yourself too seriously.
Good, good.
I would also say that all the images were really packed, or I might even say that they were spilling one over another. So, you know, and that was beautiful, but it makes it a little harder for me to recite any of them, except that I heard the combining of fix it yourself and look it up.
What I felt was somewhat like what was said earlier, but it was almost like a slideshow. And but what it did for me is as the slideshow went on, there were little pieces and parts that I wanted more of, and it was just like, no, we're going on. And so it just it left you with a need or a want for more.
There you go, Michelle. There's your next assignment. Scaffold that. Okay.
It's so interesting. For me, what was strong about it was its abundance.
Yes.
That it was a cornucopia of images, you know,
Absolutely.
the spilling over.
In the
Kaleidoscope is the word that came to mind for me.
white. Out of respect for your time, what I would like to do is move to the next prompt. And those of you who didn't share this time, if you choose to share, I will let you go first the next time, because I really want to get to this prompt. So let me try the screen share again. See if I can do this. Let's see. There it is. Yay. Well, it said it was there. Where is it? No. Okay, you know what? Here we go. It's frustrating. Because it showed that it was there. Okay, this is the prompt. Let me try it one more time. It does this to me. Here we go. You see this?
Not yet.
Can you see it?
No.
Okay. So here's the prompt. If you can't see it, then just listen. Write about something you don't remember. So often in writing classes, we're asked to write about our memories. Here's a twist. Write about something you don't remember. For those of us who are aging, this might be a snap. Probes to start the process. Why do you think you don't remember? What could you have missed by not remembering? Imagine the experience as if it happened yesterday. How might the experience be different if you did remember? So write about something you don't remember. You have 10 minutes. And I will time you in 2 minutes. Before we're to stop, I will let you know. Actually, we're down to about 1 minute and 35 seconds. Sorry. All right, come back to the group. I will remind you once again that we refer to the author as the narrator, and that when we talk about the piece, it's what's strong about the piece, what stayed with you. Let's keep our focus on the writing and the narrator. And I said before, I think, let's see, Linda, I don't know, did everybody share except, no, I didn't think so. Okay. So trying to, like I said, in the essence of time, because I'd like to leave about 5 minutes at the end, for us to have questions or comments or whatever. I didn't share, so I'm going to share because I have to. That's part of it. So mine's quick. I don't remember his laugh. He wrote a poem about a day spent with me, and when I tripped on a shoelace, he laughed. I don't remember how he smelled. Did he wear Old Spice or suck on peppermints to cover up smoker's breath? I don't recall him telling me he loved me, tucking me in at night or riding me around on his shoulders. I don't remember his voice or his hands or his smile. When he left, maybe I blocked any sense of him, so I didn't miss him. You can't miss what you don't remember. Now, the pages I read, written by him, are made up of his memories. I had no part in them, except of a mention of how I forgot him on Father's Day. Now his memories are in my mind. The chaos, the drinking, the vitriol, the pain, the seeking his Buddha or his God. These things I shouldn't remember. These things I shouldn't remember are all I have to remember him by. Kind of ruined the image. Okay. Comments? What stayed with you? Anything? I see a painful look on your face, Jennifer.
Yeah, so, right, the pain stayed with me.
Pain.
Yeah.
Anything strong about the writing? Very personal piece. And yes, it is autobiographical. I can share that with you.
I was really struck by how not remembering can create a memory, and that imagination can create such a vivid memory, like the wondering if he sucked on peppermints to mask smoker's breath, if he wore Old Spice. I just found that I found that terribly evocative, and thank you for it.
You're welcome. I'm going to share a little aside. I shared this prompt with some of my fellow writers yesterday, and they were like, they couldn't stop thinking about it. It's like one of the writers is a meditation expert, and she does incredible things. And she said it's like telling a group of students to go in and not look at the trees in the forest. You can't get it out of your mind. So thinking about what you don't remember, you immediately start thinking about what you remember. So, or don't. Anything else before we move on to the next person? Okay. Michelle said, David said exactly what I was going to say, only better. What sticks with me is the creativity of how you don't remember. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Linda, you put your reading glasses on? Did you want to read? You don't have to, but I want to give you the opportunity to share.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't read right now.
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Very powerful, though. Thank you.
You're welcome. You are so welcome. So welcome. Anyone like to share? See, Kevin, I don't think you shared the last time. Did you want your, okay, that's fine. Ron, you raised your hand.
Yeah.
Did you want to share?
Yeah, I'll share.
Oh, you do?
Sorry,
Okay, Kevin. All
I was
right.
trying to manage the computer and
Okay, you were shaking
unmuted.
your head no. So yes, go ahead.
So, I don't remember hearing the voices of people long silenced when I was young. The record is clear that the words and messages I hear clearly now were spoken by many decades ago, but I don't remember hearing them. I don't remember the racist acts of which I am guilty. I don't remember all the times my place of privilege has given me an advantage. I don't remember all the times I was given the benefit of the doubt because of the color of my skin. Not being able to remember is in itself a privilege and a curse.
I had an instructor of writing once say to me, it's all too deep for words. And what the narrator just read to me, what more can you say?
What a powerful piece to get us all thinking about that, though.
Yeah.
What's so strong about it is its honesty, its clarity.
Yes.
It brings to mind for me that like probably many of you that have done pastoral work in a memory wards of homes, and then find out that the lack of memory and our existing memory are so much a part of who we are. And it's just like it's almost like something that that we would drink or that we would eat without the flavor of spice or anything like that. And so it's that seeping away, that fading away, that need for that memory that makes us a stronger picture of who we definitely are. If you want, I'll go.
Yes.
Frustrated.
Oh, wait, just
Oh,
wait a minute.
go ahead.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry, Jennifer, did you have something to say?
I haven't had a chance to share mine.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Jennifer.
I've been Michelle's voice.
That's right, Jennifer. And then after Jennifer, we'll probably will not share anymore because it's almost 1:30. So, but maybe we'll have another opportunity to do this. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm grateful Kevin was willing to go between ours, Gwen, and you'll see why.
Okay.
I don't remember my biological father. I don't remember the sound of his laugh, his trademark phrases, his sports team loyalties, whether he drank or abstained. I don't recall if he loved God or even believed, if he was kind to animals or respectful toward women. I don't know if he had a favorite food or even if he knew I existed. I found a picture of him once, I think, a tall and sharp-featured man dressed in a suit with a white shirt and a pencil-thin tie. I don't remember him because I never knew him. I was never brave enough to ask.
Oh. Wow. I understand why the narrator wanted some space between my piece and hers.
I feel convicted of lack of imagination.
No. This phenomenon happens more frequently than you can ever imagine.
Wild.
Invariably in the writers groups, it's like you have the collective unconscious, like Jung. There are people, we write about things, and we write about the same things, not word for word, but the same things draw to us. Any comments on Jennifer's piece? What's strong? What stayed with you?
Closing it with what she learned from not knowing and not looking.
Yes. There was an emptiness. I felt like there's a hole in the soul of not knowing too, a longing that I think the narrator did a good job of portraying. Thank you.
But I also think the specificity of different things that most people are privileged to know about their father. So things like favorite sports team and things that we might also take for granted. And so then when it's presented as something that not everyone has, you realize it means a little more than you might have thought.
Absolutely. I'm going to read Michelle's comments and then I'm going to close. If you have any questions, I hate to wrap it up, but I want to stay respectful of your time because you've given me extra time, so I appreciate it. Kevin, this whole thing will stick with me. You just poured out something I didn't know that I didn't remember. And what sticks with me, Jennifer, is for you. What sticks with me is a sense that what you're not remembering who he was inside internally, his character, not what he did, but who he was. So. Okay, take a breath, breathe a minute. Do any of you have any questions or comments? This is a really brief little snapshot of what this process is. The emotions, the strong emotions that you felt, the connectedness that we had with one another, all of these things they just multiply in a group. I can't say enough. I'm just so passionate about what this work does for people. And that's really all I can say. So any questions, comments?
So then is it typical for there to be like an ongoing group so that people start to know each other and so on?
Yes, that is the actual goal. Right now I have, there are only 2 other people in this state that I'm aware of. Now there are plenty across the nation. Actually, this is a global initiative. There are people all over the world that do this. But yes, and that is a goal of mine. But I cut my teeth with a couple of groups of friends that I knew because I really wanted to get down, how to present and without a lot of nerves. I still have them, especially when I can't get my screen share to work. But yes, and if I start a group on Zoom or something, I would be happy to send out the information. But yes, that is the goal, is to have ongoing groups. Anything else? Just thank you so much for showing up today and taking an hour and a half out of your schedules to be a part of this. I hope you gain something from it. And if you think of other questions that come up, just reach out to Jennifer and she can forward them to me. There's ongoing training, Michael. Actually, I think there's one in August. If it's something you might be interested in doing yourself, it's a 40-hour training that you go through, and then you are actually certified to do this as a leader. You're considered an affiliate leader. So, and I can send you that information.
And is that what you just did, or is that a slightly different?
No, this is what I did today was a product of my training. It's like I said, it's a week-long 40-hour training that you work
Yes.
with, certified leaders, and that's their role. And I'm just an affiliate. Okay, Jennifer, I'm gonna turn back over to you.
Gwen, thank you.
Thank you.
This was a very rich taste of the process. I'm so grateful for your generous sharing, and I'm so glad that all of you were attend. I'd be thrilled if you want more than a taste and would be interested in what we could accomplish together as Presbyterian leaders. Just shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever, what this sparks for you. And I feel sure we can explore that. That's who we're called to be, is connected people, enhancing leaders' lives and congregations' lives. If it's okay with you, I'd love to end with one of Pat Schneider's offerings from her book. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's
Because
great.
it's a prayer, friends. Her book, How the Light Gets In, Writing a Spiritual Practice, is just as good as spending 90 minutes with Gwen. I want to tell you that she either trained well or is Pat's clone or something, but she Gwen's a gift in our midst. Here's a poem called Confession, which feels like the right way for us to end this time together for today. Apprehended on the slant of air between two trees, crow fractured morning after morning, I would name you if I knew how. I don't know how you leap over naming, sidle under, squeeze around you, lilac, thistle, burr, belonging to no species. You, chipmunk, sudden, slug, utterly accommodating. You, rainfall, prism, beautiful. Earthquake, terrifying. Still of night, deep darkness, comforting. You, rock. You, rock. You, unnameable, unknowable, known. How you scamper, swim, creep, crawl, soar, sink, stride, fly. You, mountain. You, desert, delicious, delirious, madness making laughter. You, ocean. You, faucet. You, ripple, erupt, spray, spout. You, silence. You, suggestion. You, impossible, unbelievable God. May you have all sorts of opportunity to explore that gift and that mystery. And I hope you'll join us for a very different topic next week if you can, as we talk about trauma in communities. Can you imagine? Thanks for being with us, Gwen.
Thank you.
Thank you all as well. Take care.